All right. Finally getting this stinking thing going. This just took a little bit to get going here because computer's being all wonky and, you know, it's the fun stuff. All right, welcome to CommanderSmiths. This is Adam, and it is Spotlight. I don't know why I opened it like I'm opening the podcast, but working on a Spotlight, searching for the Spotlight. Today, working on Captain Engathrod, I think is how you say it. I might as well get my... I have Build a Better Deck. I actually don't have... Oh, I do have Kid Can't Even Read. There we go.
Kid Can't Even Read.
All right, so working on Captain N is what I'm going to call him. So there's a couple of things behind this whole deck idea. This is kind of like a secret Bruvac deck in a way because... so I have Bruvac built, and it's a good deck. Like, it does its thing, but the problem with it is... Bruvac is such a threat, and it's only a 3-drop commander, and there's a lot of cards, for example, that has people mill half of their library, like this. Target player puts the half their library rounded down into the graveyard. You have Bruvac out, you kill the player. There's a lot of cards that do where it's multiple players, like if you do the kicker of this, so you got 4, 5, 6, and you kill everybody. So Madding Cacophony is pretty brutal. So there, people know. Thanks, Renshai. People know that when Bruvac is out, it's kill Bruvac. So this deck is, and I can show you it too, really quick. Let's see if I can find. Let's get my decks here. Here's all our deck list there. So it's Mill Me or Mill Many is the one that I did before. So when Bruvac's out, there isn't. It's a lot harder because everybody's life totals at essentially 100, but it's less because you're drawing your cards and all that. So life total is a lot harder to deal with, and you're just all out milling, and I don't have a lot of defense. So I do have some hindrance stuff in here. We got the storage matrix can make people's lives a little tricky. Crawl space. Where's that other dude? Silent Arbiter. So you got some things that make it a little tougher for people to actually take you out. And, you know, adding back to the basics or back to basics, propaganda, of course, all that kind of stuff, kind of hindering stuff. But I've played it quite a bit. It has won. It isn't a deck that isn't winning. But the problem is lately, more often than not, people just hate mill. So what I decided to do... what is the one that I named it? It's Mask of Bruvac is what I named this one. So what I'm going to do with this deck, the essential idea, is using the new Captain N from Commander Legends. And I'm not going the horror angle where it's like Umbrus, like Lowery's Umbrus deck. It is, so it's horrors you control have menace. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. The part that I like about this has nothing to do with the beginning part. Those first two, you could just get rid of them, and I don't even care. You know, I mean, yeah, maybe I'll attack with the commander, and I'll help a little bit with milling. But it's this second paragraph, or I guess it would be third, sentence, whatever. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from their library this turn. Put it on the battlefield under your control. So here's the plan for this whole thing. My idea is to have the captain out and still do what I do, like an essential Bruvac deck, and mill people and then take their stuff. They take whatever's best. So it's almost, now I'm defending myself, so I can actually... Not only am I milling people, I can actually kill people with direct damage and stuff like that. So I think this will be a lot more fun, and I won't be a target necessarily in the beginning because it's this guy. So they're just like, oh, okay, he's milling maybe. It's more getting his horrors out and all that. I know people watching this, a lot of it will be Discord people, will know that it's a mill deck still. But even knowing that it's a mill deck, I think by me adding so many more creatures into this deck and being potentially take other people's artifacts or enchant or creatures from their graveyard, that'll help me defend myself. So I think this deck overall will keep me alive a lot longer and allow me to eventually do my thing. Now, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a secret commander because I think a lot of the secret, I don't know a lot of the secret commander stuff, but I think there's a lot of tutoring that goes into that. You know, you have to tutor to go find your commander and then you play your actual secret commander. I don't play tutors. And so this is, oh, I got my fart noise. I don't play tutors unless it fits in a theme. And yes, Magda is a theme. So Magda is a tutor deck because it's part of the theme. You're on here, Renshaw. I knew you're going to give me shit. So that's why I threw that in there. So there isn't tutors. So I can't say it's necessarily a secret commander because I'm not going to be able to find him very often. He's kind of hidden in there. It's just more of saying that this is actually a mill deck with getting some bonuses. Now, as I'm talking, I did think of, is it Arcane Adaptation? I might want to add that in because later on when I'm stealing everybody else's creatures, and I do have a couple horrors in here because it does fit with the commander deck as well. Yeah, not just mill, but stealing their stuff too. Yes, I know it is pretty shitty, but it's not going to be like take everybody because it has to be on that mill, you know? So it's once you mill, okay, what's the best thing that's there? I'm using this to protect myself, or, hey, that's a really good artifact. I'll steal that from you instead. You know, yeah, it's still going to be a pissy deck, but I think it's going to be a lot more fun, and at least I'll be able to defend myself. That's the problem being a mill player. A lot of times you can't defend yourself because you're just trying to mill, and everybody's just kill the mill player because that's it makes sense. You kill the mill player because they're not hurting you for damage. Everybody go kill the mill player. They're just milling your deck out little by little or bunches by bunches. So once you get rid of the mill player, then you can have another game of Magic. So in this case, I'm going to actually be able to do damage and mill at the same time. Okay, so I think isn't it Arcane Adaptation? Isn't that the, let me check here. Should be an enchantment. Pretty sure that's what I'm thinking of. Yes. Okay. Because then this might actually be a good add in this deck because of the horror part. Because it will help. Because even when I'm stealing stuff. What is the black one? I have it in my binder right over here. But if you guys can remember the black one that does the same thing from, I think it was Time Spiral or whatever. No, it wasn't Time Spiral. They reprinted it. And it was in Modern Horizons 2. Write it on there because I'll probably add that in here as well to have both in there. If you guys can remember that. So that I want to do the one where it's pick the creature type. So I do horrors and all of them are horrors and then go through it. Okay, so let's go through the deck really quick because I do have a Bruvac deck that I made. I don't think we did a spotlight on, we weren't doing the live stuff yet. So I don't have an overall going over it, but I want to go through this quick because I kind of want to finish this tonight. I only have to cut 32 cards. That's 132. I actually have the land already in here. So this is almost like a switcheroo, but it's a bigger switcheroo because I have 32. I'm adding a whole new color in. It gives me a little bit more tools and such, so I think that'll help there. But okay, so let's get to the main idea of this. So we put Ashiok in here. It's milling in a way. It is also getting rid of people's graveyards because the thing is this only takes effect when you mill. It doesn't take effect with anything that's been milled before. So Ashiok will be a good way to get rid of exile each opponent's graveyard. Get rid of it. Conspiracy. Thank you. Conspiracy. Yes, thank you, Renshai. Conspiracy. Spear. That was the one I was thinking of. So let's look at that one too really quick since I just pulled it up. It's a little more expensive for coming out. It's the original one. Where'd it go? I know it's an enchantment. Where did it go? It should be under C. Oh, there it is. Oh, it did under the Time Spiral. So yeah, see, that's 5 compared to the 3. So it's a little bit more expensive to come out. But now we have a little bit more consistency of doing this. It doesn't need to be 7 cards changing my creature types. I'm comfortable with 2 of them because horror is not the main idea of this deck. But these will be nice bonuses because it does give the horrors menace, I believe. Wasn't that what it was? Yeah. So it makes them even more difficult. So it's going to aid into my decking people, milling people. Okay, so let's keep moving. Ashiok, what I just mentioned. Jace, so it's the draw the card, target player puts on the graveyard. Target player puts the top 10 cards in their graveyard. So again, this is triggering this. So this works together. Jace, it's also milling as well. Narset, just douchey. I don't know if this one will necessarily fit in this per se. It's a good douchey card, but I don't know if I'll keep this one in here. Some of these I will cut as we go because the blue cards are pretty much left over from Bruvac. So they're just copied and pasted over here. So some of these I'll just cancel right away. Teferi is just a good planeswalker. I think it should be in almost every blue deck. So that's kind of a little bit of add draw in there and phasing things out. So Ugin. Do I want Ugin? Colorless spells. This was more for my artifacts. I think Ugin's going to get a cut right now. I don't need that. Okay, so now we get into the creatures. Now before, if you remember, I had like 2 rows. So it was like 10 to 15 creatures, I think. Now I have a lot more. I have 32 in this. So one of the new guys here, Brainstealer Dragon. It's a lot to come out, 7. But the overall... What is my deck? Okay, so we're still at a 2.4. So that's pretty good for my overall curve to the deck. So, but Brainstealer Dragon, this one's kind of cool. At the beginning of your end step, exile a top card out of each opponent's library. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though any color. Okay, so we can cast spells off of the top, and you don't even have to attack with them. And it's a horror, so it does fit with the captain thing. But whenever a non-land permanent an opponent owns enters the battlefield under your control, they lose life equal to its mana value. So this triggers with this. So these two work really well together because now I'm having stuff that's not when you cast it, enters the battlefield. So now I steal your creature, I mill you, I steal your creature, and you lose life. Everybody's happy. But it's 7. This is really big coming out there. So, I mean, it's whatever. We'll see how this all goes. Like, as I'm talking out loud, I'm like, this is douchey. All right, so we move. I am having a whiskey, by the way, tonight. It is a 50% alcohol, so... If I finish that, the deck, I got to hope to cut enough cards before I finish that, or I might need your guys' help cutting all my cards here. All right, so Bruvac, obviously, we're doubling the mill. Consuming Aberration, this one's a lot of fun. This one's an old school good mill card. So it's equal to the amount of cards in all of your opponent's graveyards. Whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals the top card of the library until they reveal a land card. Put those in the graveyard. It's just a no-brainer. Fits perfectly in this deck. In fact, it's part of the commander deck of this. Dimir Doppelganger. Exile a creature card from a graveyard. It becomes a copy of that card and gains this ability. So we're milling. There's good stuff in the graveyard. You hate me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Renchai. Good stuff in other people's graveyards. Hey, I just milled your... I was going to say Blightsteel Colossus, but that gets mixed in. But hey, I just milled your... I don't know. Let's just say old Gnawbone. I'm going to make myself an old Gnawbone, and I will swing in and hit you and get treasures and all that stuff. So I think this could be a lot of fun. Dreamborn Muse at the beginning of each player's upkeep. The player puts the top X cards or its cards in their hand. That's a really good mill. This guy, interesting, because this is a way that I could get people to lose a lot of life if I'm milling a lot. So you tap the 3. Whenever... a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere this turn, that player loses 1 life. I think the problem with this card is it is a target, so I don't think I can just tap the 3 and it hits all 3 players. I'm almost positive that's how that one works. Let's do a Scryfall really quick just to double check. Was Dimir? No, Dusk Mantle Guild. Okay, so Dusk Mantle, and you can see I actually probably looked this up to try to double check on that. And I don't think I got the errata text. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere this turn. Oh, and it doesn't say target. So it does. Okay. Maybe that's why I put it in. So it does say an opponent put into an opponent. Yeah, I guess. I was thinking maybe the errata text might have changed, and it didn't. So that could be an interesting thing because you're milling and making them lose life. That's kind of a double whammy. People losing cards and losing life. Like that's the thing why what I was mentioning before, mill players can die quick is because you're not hitting their life. And sometimes people leave you alone because they're like, well, my life isn't getting hit, so I can leave you off to the side. But a lot of people do not like their cards being milled away, so they come right after you. So this is a way that you can do milling and killing at the same time. Milling and killing. That's what the name of this deck should be. Milling and killing. Have you thought of Altar of the Brood? So you steal other players' things and mill them when you steal. So Altar is in here. That's from my other Bruvac deck. So yes, that is whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of their library. Yeah. So that is in there. It's definitely a good mill card. Okay, so new one, Elder Brain is 7 again. So this is pretty high up there on the casting cost, but whenever it has menace and it's a horror, whenever it attacks a player, exile all cards from that player's hand, then they draw that many cards. So you're getting rid of their hand. You may play a lands and cast spells from among the exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were any color. So yeah, let's get rid of their hand and then let's play their stuff. Hey, what's up, Ramsey? So yeah, more stuff that people will hate, but it's really high up there. It's 7. You're going to see this one coming, so it could be a cut. Geth Lord of the Vault, 6. This is just taking people's artifacts and creature cards, so kind of doing a similar thing, but I'm having to actually pay the mana cost to bring them in from their graveyards. But it's not a bad card to have. Now that I have black, it opens up the door of what I can use for mill stuff. Where I did not have this before. If this was a blue card, it would have been in my Bruvac deck. But yeah, so now that I'm adding black, that just gives you so much more. So Guilt Feeder. This one is Fear 04. Whenever it attacks and isn't blocked, if any player loses 1 life for each card in their graveyard. This can straight up kill somebody because you're attacking and you've already milled them down 30, 40, 50 cards. And you're like, well, now you're dead with life and not just mill. So Millin' and Stealin' sounds like a BC Boy song. I can hear that. All right, Hedron Crab, good. Manic Scribe, so whenever enters the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 3 cards. Delirium, at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, that player puts the top 3. So this could continuously mill 3 during your opponent's turn. So this... It is in my Bruvac deck as well. Like I said, everything blue in here is going to be in there. Nemesis of Reason. Just milling 10 cards, man. It's pretty good. It's a horror. Notion Thief. I don't know if I want this in here either. It was just more of a hindrance there. If an opponent would draw a card, you draw it instead. We all know how... people liked our Hull Breacher. So I don't know if we... I don't know. We'll keep him in there for now. Fennex. So bringing back my old god. This was my first mill deck. I think this still works in here because I am stealing people's creatures. And if I'm not wanting to attack right before my turn, I'm like, okay, mill. The only thing is his effect is at the beginning of my end step. So if I'm milling on other people's turns, I won't get the effect of that. So I'd have to do all that beforehand. Still good. It's added in here because there is a lot of big creatures and stealing stuff. I think that's actually a pretty good card in there. I don't know if I need this anymore because now I don't need to hinder somebody from not attacking me. Riddle Keeper will get a cut. Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. The other Sakashima. So we're adding duplicates of what he is doing. So that could be getting, instead of 1 card, I'm getting 3 or 2. So this is obviously, repetition is very nice to be able to be consistent and do the same thing over and over. Plus, if you do it with the Bruvac, you could really kill people. Sepulchral Primordial. So 7. This one's kind of cool because it enters, and each opponent, you put one target creature card from their graveyard onto your battlefield. This one's just a good card. I've spec'd on this one in the foils way back. I have quite a few of them. Yep. I was bragging there, so.
Oh, good for you.
It's just a good card coming in late game. You've already milled a bunch of people. You drop it out. You're instant value. You're like that guy, and that guy. I have 3 more creatures, including my 5/4, into play. So this is just good card right there. It doesn't continue to do it. That's the only problem, but I think late game stuff, this really does help. Shadowkin, so we're adding some more. Let's see. It's at the beginning of your upkeep, each player mills 3 cards. You may exile a creature card from among them, milled this way. If you do, this becomes a copy of it. So it's kind of, except it has the same ability. It's kind of doing a similar thing. You're getting to choose as it's being milled. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player mills 3. So you have to hit one of those. It's 3, 6, 9. So hopefully you get a good creature out of that, and you can use the ability there. I think it's a pretty decent card there. Silent Arbiter. It's getting a cut because we are not worried about people attacking us anymore. We're not a Bruvac deck anymore. We are playing creatures and doing shit. Sire's Stagnation. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, this is kind of a weird mill because it's an exile effect, but it is also a draw effect and hindering people. If you have a blue and black deck, this is just a good card to have in there because people like to play land. People play fetches. It's just good. So I think this one's going to stay in here. Solemn might actually get kicked out of this one. Let's see. Where's my mono rocks and everything? I'm going to have to start ordering those. We have 1. This is probably going to get a boot too because that was when I was just a blue deck. We're down to 30 already. Yeah, there's already ones I can see instant boots. We'll keep Solemn in there for right now, but it may get the cut here coming up. Spark Double, obviously. Keep it going. Spellskite, it is also a horror, but it has some protection added onto it. We like that. Stitcher Jarlf, this is a nice mill effect. I haven't really gone crazy with this before. It always makes it in my mill deck, but I haven't really got this thing to go really good because it's 3 cards, exile 2 creature cards, put it in the graveyard this way. I don't know if I like that as much. We'll see. We'll come back to this guy. Sir Conrad, this is perfect in this because its creature dies or is milled. It does 1 damage to each opponent. So let's see. Let's just do a scenario. You mill everybody 5 cards, and it's not just that player that gets the creature milled out. It's every player that gets milled a creature. Then it combines them all, and they each take that amount of damage. So this is a pretty good card. It also has a little bit of mill put on it with tapping 2, put the top card. Each player puts the top card of their library in the graveyard. So self-mill there. Here's a fun one. Yeah, I don't think I need Solemn either. I'll get back to it. I'm just going to keep it there for right now. I'm going to do the obvious cuts and then come back. But I think Solemn will get a cut here. The Haunt of Hightower is so good in this. Like this one, I love this card, and it got so cheap because it was a promo thing or whatever. So I have a few of these guys, but whatever attacks a player discards a card. That's whatever. But it's whenever a card is put in an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, it gets a 1/1 counter on it. So you're milling. This is flying lifelink, and this just gets bigger and bigger. This always causes problems when people get this out. Not just in a mill deck. I'm just saying in general, the Haunt of Hightower can do some damage, and you're gaining life back. Thieving Skydiver. I don't need to use this anymore. I know it's stealing stuff because other things care about that, but my commander this doesn't fit in this. When it was just blue, it made sense. Now it doesn't. I'm not even going to say that word, but it has the power and toughness equal to the number of crabs, oozes, and horrors you control. Beginning or end step, exile up to 1 target creature from an opponent's graveyard. If you do, create a token copy of this. So you're getting rid of a creature out of there. Now you have 2 of these. And then your next turn, you do 2 creatures. Now you have 4 of them. And your next turn, it's 4 things, and then you have 8. So this thing can just kind of get out of control. Seems kind of fun. I kind of like this. Undead Alchemist. So it's whenever a zombie control will deal damage to a player, instead the player puts Ooh. Whenever a creature card is put into an opponent's graveyard from their library, exile. Okay, so that's where it came in. That's why I've had this in the mill decks, because it's still counting that second paragraph. You're playing a creature's going to the graveyard. Instead, you're exiling it and you get a zombie from it. But that's almost counterproductive of what counterintuitive to what I want to do here. Because I want to take their stuff. This is exiling it. So I'm going to get rid of that guy because it's not helping with what I want there. Urza. This was better when it was just artifacts. I don't think I want it anymore. It's a good card. It just was better when it was artifacts and just blue. Zelix. So yeah, when player mills one or more creature cards, you create a 1/1 black horror creature token. Target player mills 3. It's just a good self-mill, or not self, but it can self-mill, I guess. But that's not the intent of this one. All right, so those are the creatures. That was a pretty good package of creatures in there. There's some pretty high-powered stuff. Now we get into like the things that actually create the milling. So the idea is you're going to want to get the setup. You're going to want to get things out there so that when you get this out, we got our mill effects, other things taking effect here. So let's get into the other stuff. So cut your losses. This is a newer card from New Capenna. Target player mills half their library rounded down. Casualty too. So now remember, we are getting other people's creatures. We have creatures in this deck. Casualty is going to be easy to do in this. So you cast 6 and you go, I'll sacrifice this and that player mills half, that player mills half, that player mills half. Oh, we'll do that player again. And so this I think could do some damage late game. Like even mid game, 6 is a lot, but hitting multiple targets, this is going to do a lot of damage here. Dread Summage. Each player mills X cards for each creature card put in the graveyard. This way, create a tap 2/2 zombie token. So it's similar to the guy I just got rid of. I mean, we should just put him on the sideboard. But each player mills X for each creature put in the graveyard. It's all right. Might get cut. We'll see. Okay, Extract from Darkness. Each player puts the top 2 cards of their library, graveyard. Then put a creature card from the graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Key thing here is it isn't from those 2 cards. So if their graveyard already has stuff in it, you get to take a creature from a graveyard and put it on the battlefield. So that's pretty sweet. Fractured Sanity is insane. Each opponent mills 14, just the triple blue. And then if you do the cycling, so if you want to draw a card, you could do each player mills 4 cards. This is just a really good card in there. Glimpse the Unthinkable. I don't like that it's only 1 player you're targeting, but it's still 10 cards. And then if you're doing it, and then you can potentially take something out of there with Captain N, I think it's pretty good. Increasing Confusion. Puts the top X cards or library in the graveyard. If it was kicked, you put twice that many. So this going to your graveyard is not a bad thing. We mentioned Madding Cacophony. That's good. Mind Funeral. Again, it's just targeting 1 player. I wish it was all, but then it'd be a really crazy card. But hitting 4 land, you're going to hit other things in there. So this is a really good mill for that. Mind Grind. Sip here. Each opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they hit X land cards. Man, if you have this late game and you hit that at like 10, do you just straight up mill somebody out? Like the fact that we add black in gives you so many more tools for milling. I know we had that Staple Versus back a few months back, and that was the biggest argument for Lowery's Phoenix when he was arguing that side. Adding that black really gives you a lot more tools, because I wish this was just blue, because Bruvac would be brutal with this card. Reanimate. So let's just take some stuff from people's graveyards and put it onto my side. So I'm continuing to use things that I can steal from the graveyard. This doesn't have to be out for me to do that. So you want to add some other ways to do things, and if your commander gets neutered or isn't in play. So this is a good card for that. Traumatized, because again, you're going to be still milling people throughout the game. And so you don't necessarily you want your commander out so you can get more stuff, but you're trying to get everybody milled out and potentially or kill them with damage. So this will just come in handy as you've milling throughout the game here. So Traumatize. Target player puts a half. So again, we're going after one player in this scenario. But you can potentially kill somebody if you have Bruvac out. Windfall, just, draws cards equal to the number of cards discarded. Each player discards their hand. Okay. So does Windfall fit in here as well? I mean, it's drawing. Yeah, it probably does. Cyclonic Rift, great protection. You have answers for everything. Sublime Epiphany, love this card. Being able to choose one or more, this is just great. Just fantastic. And now we're going to be able to create tokens of creatures that we have. Yeah, I'll do that. Or draw cards. Like, there's just so much that you can do with that. All right, now we get into the artifacts. Alter the Brood, talked about that. We got our Arcane Signet, Crawl Space. We're losing Crawl Space because now we want to attack. And that was the point of Crawl Space, is Bruvac was not an attacking deck. I was supposed to just sit back and relax. But so now we are attacking. Extra Planner Lens, I think that's how you say it. This was good when it was one color. Now that we're into two, I don't like to play it. It's only if I'm playing a monocolored deck. So we're gonna drop that. Folio of Fancies. I get this in my hand a lot, and I never play it because each opponent puts a number of cards equal to the number of cards. We'll see. That one's just tough. Helm of the Host. That is a good card to add. Why not have 2 Captain Ends? Because then you get more creatures out of people's graveyards. Definitely like that. Keening Stone. It's good for mill. Mana Crypt. Do I want this in here now? I don't know if I want Mana Crypt in there. I'll come back to it. I got to check my Mono Rocks out. I should be doing that. Sapphire Medallion's going to get cut here too because I'm just doing it now. I'm not Mono Blue anymore. Monoscape Refractor. This is just a cool card. I think it should be used a lot more. We've talked about it on the cast. But it enters tapped. That's the downfall of it. But it has all activated abilities of all lands. And basically, you get any land that's in play. So if somebody has a Gaia's Cradle, you also have a Gaia's Cradle. It just seems like a pretty damn good card. So I think this should be used more. I just don't think people realize how good that card is. Meek Stone. We are not keeping that because we are not preventing people from attacking. Mesmeric Orb. It's going to mill people when they untap stuff. So, yep, that's good. This is a Mono Rock plus a draw later on. This seems pretty decent. I like using this card. Mind's Eye. Whenever an opponent draws a card. I don't know if I want Mind's Eye in here. We're going to remove Mind's Eye. Mind Crank. Whenever an opponent loses life, that player puts that many cards. So now, remember, this is a mill and a life-killing deck. Now we can do more of that. We're going to kill them and mill them and kill them and mill them. Like, it's just, it seems pretty brutal to have Mind Crank in this now that it's actually an attacking deck. Mirage Mirror. Yes, Mirage Mirror is always good. Nyx Lotus. Now that we are playing 2 colors, I don't feel comfortable playing that as much. Sensei's Top. Soul Ring. Static Orb. We are getting rid of that. Let's see. Storage Matrix. As long as it's untapped, instead each player untapping their permanents during their turn, that player chooses artifacts, creatures, or lands. Hindering does not matter anymore, so let's get rid of that. The Sword is good because we are still milling people for 10, and we are attacking, so this adds a little bit of evasion and protection a little bit, so I want that in there. Thought Vessel, yeah, no maximum hand size. We should be drawing a lot. Ward of the Bones might be another cut here. Each opponent who controls more creatures than you can't play creature cards. The same is true for artifacts, enchantments, and lands. We aren't really lacking in any particular field. So this just seems, this was a hindrance in that I wasn't playing creatures with Bruvac as much. So we are going to remove that as well. Okay, look at this. We were almost halfway through cutting stuff, and we were just going through our first pass through the whole list. So that's pretty good. All right, Animate Dead. Great card because you can take other people's creatures from their graveyard. The only downfall is it gets -1 to their power. So it's a really good card for stealing other things from people's graveyards. Arcane Adaptation, like we mentioned before. Back to basics. That needs to go because we are no longer just blue. Black Market Connections. Love this card from the new Baldur's Gate. Just adding a little bit of extra draw into this. And I could make a Changeling, which is also considered a horror because it's, it's a Changeling. And if I want, there's a little bit of ramp in there. 3-drop for a ramp, and each turn you lose a life and get a treasure. I'd do that. Conspiracy, like we talked about. Counterbalance, I don't need this in here anymore. Dance of the Dead is another one you can put on other people's creatures and steal those, so that's pretty good. This is a new one, Endless Evil. So you put it on one of your creatures, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you create a token that is a copy of it, except it's a 1/1. When it dies, if it was a horror, you return this to your hand. So the one problem is you don't want to put this on legendary stuff because that will still kill it, because all that's different about it is it's a 1/1. But put it on other things that you steal. Maybe you steal somebody's stuff and start making multiple copies of like triggered effects. Like what else? It'd be nice to make another crab. This gal. That. Not Bruvac. That. Like, there's a lot that I could make multiple copies here, and it would actually be really good. Everything that's not legendary would be really good. I'm almost thinking Spellskite might need to get cut too, but we'll see here in a sec. Fray Insanity. At the beginning of each end step, I don't like that it's just... you're a tool for Millie. Why are you watching? You're very curious how this deck is going to go. Million's fine, baby. It's all good. Fray Insanity. So I don't like that it's targeting one player. I like to hit everybody. It's still a really good card because it's enchanted player puts the top X cards or library in the graveyard, where X is number of cards put in the graveyard from anywhere this turn. So it's the beginning of each end step. So you can really kill a player. It's kind of brutal. Memory Erosion, very good card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, they put the top 2 cards of their library in graveyard. Mirror Maid, being able to copy these enchantments or my creatures is very good. Or no, artifacts and enchantments, sorry, not creatures. So that's very good, especially with the enchantments that I have going. Mystic Remora, good draw. I like having that when you have a blue. Necromancy, again, similar effect of Animate Dead. But you can also play as an instant. If you do, then it's buried at the end of turn. But you're most likely going to do it like the Animate Deads and stuff like that. Phyrexian Arena, adding some more draw. Propaganda, we are going to get rid of that because we don't care about people attacking us anymore. You'll play more red counterspell. Yeah, going against my blue deck, I'm going to counter you back, buddy. Just kidding. Psychic Corrosion, whenever you draw a card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of the library in the graveyard. Great. Heuristic Study, yes. Sphinx's Tutelage. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent puts the top 2 cards. So it's a little worse than that, except you can do a draw effect on this. And it has a continuous effect potential. If they're both non-land cards that share a color, you repeat the process. You're probably not going to hit that. You have to hit, unless they're playing a monocolor deck, you'll most likely get... you won't hit that every time, but it has a potential, so that's there. Teferi's Tutelage. So this is you draw a card and discard a card. And then whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2. So similar to this, but you get at least a draw, so you get a replacement effect on this. So those are the enchantments. We are through the deck pretty much, right? Yeah. So we cut down 15 cards. We are halfway done. All right, feels good. Let's go back up to the top. Let's hit some things that we know we don't want. We mentioned, well, let's see. What's our ramp? Mono Rocks. Let's add some tags to these. We want to add ramp and Mono Rocks. Oh, and I should bring this up so you guys can see this. Now what I'm going to probably do is show the blueprint stuff. One problem is I got to make sure it's not blocking too much. I don't know if you guys can read that or not. And I got to pull it up for myself so I can go off of this. Okay, so I do want to get how many ramp mana? So 13 to 17. So let's start. We already did our tag on that, right? Change tags. Okay, so we got ramp and mana rocks. We would consider this a little bit of ramp and mana rocks. That's one of my more important things I go after, is to make sure that I have enough of that. All right, so we did have our mana crypt. We didn't get rid of it, so let's get that in there. Refractor, I would consider that as well. Only 85. No, baby, no 85 cards to go. We only have 15 cards to go because I already have land in there, so I don't have any. I have 15 cards to cut. That's not too bad. My thing right here that I'm doing, I may add in cards because I don't know if I have enough ramp, because I wasn't playing a lot when it was mono blue. I had a few, but we've already cut a few of those. So we may need some more ramp in here. Okay. So where did that move up to? I bet you up a little bit. Where'd it go? It didn't make a new tab for me? Lands. Sideboard. What the hell? Change tags. Add another dash. Add to wish list. No, it should be ramp and mono rocks. Where are they? Anybody see it? Creatures, planeswalkers. All right. If I can't find it, we're just gonna count with fingers. I don't know where it went. It should have made one. Maybe I have to make a manual. No. Fine. Fine. All right, let's check through this quick and see if there's any. I know none of these are mono rocks. None of those are. None of those. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are low on our mono rocks. We may get rid of. Yeah, there's no mono rocks down here. 37 lands. What is our curve on this? 2.28. We're pretty low. So it's not too bad with not having a lot of mono rocks. We'll hit back on the mono rock stuff here in a little bit. I don't want to waste too much time with the mono rocks, but I might leave some. What did I say? I said 6, and we want to be ramp and mono rocks like 13. 13 to 17 at a minimum. So we might want to leave a space for an extra like 5 or 6 cards to pop in here. So yeah, we'll do that towards the end here. So let's cut a little extra. We'll probably go 5 or 6 cards over the cut and then come back and grab some mono rocks. All right, so we got Ashiok. Can't cause the controller to search the library. Man, that's douchey. Target player puts the top 4 cards of the library into the graveyard, then exile each opponent's. I like that part of it. But man, Ashiok can be really bad. Jace. That's a good mill for 5. Draw a card. Target player puts the top card of the library. You're going to probably hit the second one. Self-mill is not going to be relevant in this. Target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into the graveyard. Draw a card. I think I'm going to get rid of Jace, because I think that for the triple blue isn't worth the 2 mil off of it. Draw a card. Well, yeah, we're going to get rid of that guy. I'll do sideboard just so maybe I decide later I want him there. Narset. Can't draw more than 1. Look at the top 4 cards. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land from among them. Put them in your hand. This is just being douchey, so we're going to move that to the side. I'm already douchey enough. Teferi. Draw a card and discard a card. I just like Teferi being in blue decks. Because what it also, the thing is this deck is going to have creatures. And it's going to have your creatures. So Teferi will probably be able to be it won't be killed necessarily unless, you know, direct damage. And even if you don't have creatures, Teferi is tough to deal with, you know, because it's, you can make something phase out because it's instant speed. So I kind of want to keep that one in there. Let's move through. We knew we wanted to hit, oh, Solemn would be my other ramp. So we got 7. So Solemn may stay in here. I don't think we have a lot of protection stuff. 5 to 9. So we have Spell Skite for protection. That's 2 right there. I may want to add more protection into this too. I'm looking at Folio and I'm getting rid of it right now. I don't want it there. It bugs me. I see it looking at me and I don't want it. So we may need to adjust our protection. We may even need to removal. We may even need to hit some of these key stuff. This might be a little harder than I was thinking because I'm lacking some of those things in this deck because it's all focused on mill. What my thought with mill was like, I don't fucking care what you have. I am going to mill you out. Like, I don't even care what's out there. And so I think that's why I was lacking a lot of that stuff. I think right now Solemn might actually stay in there. Spellskite. It's a little bit of protection. What are we down? 112. All right, so let's start moving through our stuff. That seems brutal. That's good. That seems really brutal. Wait, what is that one again? Play lands. Oh, when it attacks a player, exile all cards from their hand. Then they draw that many. You may play lands and cast spells from among them. Cast a spell this way. Okay. This is just a repetitive thing. Geth. This seems brutal. Notion Thief. How many draws do we have? That's what we should figure out here. 1, 2. This is kind of, I would almost consider a draw. You're stealing, but 2, 3, you know, that's not draw. Let's just count the only draws. 3, 4, 5. Stitcher is getting out of there. There's too much going on there. I almost cut it. See how close I was there? Still checking my draw. 6. 7. 7-ish. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 12. 13 in a way. That's a really high draw there. 13. 14. Where's my other draw in here? I don't think there is. 14. Okay, so we got 14. What do we want for our draw? We want 7 to 15. Okay, so we're sitting good with our draw here. We're down to 11 cards we need to cut. Okay, that's not too bad. All right, let's keep going through these cards because our draw is good. So I think what I'm getting at is protection we're a little low on. Removal we're definitely a low on. I'm more of trying to take things from people's graveyards. So removal's lacking quite a bit. And our mono rocks. All right, those are my 3 that I'm kind of lacking a little bit. Recursion is kind of built in with Captain because I'm stealing other people's stuff. So let's keep going with this. So Dreamborn is pretty good. This is pretty good. I feel like my creatures are in a solid spot. Oh, that's where I was saying it, the Notion Thief. So Flash, if an opponent would draw a card except for the first one, it doesn't fit with what I'm doing and it's very douchey. Although it is a way for me to draw more. We're moving Notion to sideboard. It doesn't really fit with what I'm doing. And I have enough draw that just fits in. I don't want to be too douchey. I'm already milling, so... Sakashimas are always good. Like I mentioned, this guy can be good late game. This one might not be as good as I was thinking because it's only each player mills 3. So that's including yourself, I guess. If you do, becomes a... Oh, wait. You may exile a creature card from among them. Okay, I thought it was a must. Okay, everything else here seems okay to keep in. Let's jump back down to our sorceries. Like I said, we're gonna have creatures. Each player mills, so this is hitting everybody, including yourself. Black zombie creature. It's adding more bodies. I dig that. This is only targeting one player. But we do need some mill effects here. I almost don't want to get rid of a lot of mill. All right, how much recursion do we have of other people's stuff? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of a 6 there. 6. Is that what I'm seeing there? Windfall might be out. Windfall doesn't make sense at this point because it isn't a mill, so your trigger is not what the mill stuff. Should have used EDH. Thanks, Ibukaki. I'm gonna get rid of Windfall because it doesn't fit with what we're kind of doing here. Fractured Sanity, 14 cards each opponent. Yeah, that's good for 3 blue. Ugh. That could really get me some stuff there. And it's sorcery, so you're going to be doing this, and hopefully you have your commander out and get all the fun stuff from that. Target player puts the top 10. Yeah, that's good, mill. And I'm not doing the whole Bruvac thing where it's like, oh, this could be 28, with the 14, because most likely Bruvac isn't going to be out. Bruvac is almost considered one of the spells along with everything. Yes, EDH rec does help. I will say I did. I went back to see what black spells I was missing. With this guy with Fenix, and so I did use EDH rec to help with a lot of the black stuff, and then I picked and chose. Like I was like, this fits in what I'm doing because that isn't the same thing. Like it's not the same deck. So I didn't take Captain Nahar or whatever EDH rec necessarily. I used my Fenix God to see which other mill stuff. I wanted to see what the OGs were that were used. And actually, now that I'm like thinking about it, I may get rid of Glimpse because I don't own a Glimpse. I don't think I do. How many sets was that in? Let's check it out. Glimpse. I'll know in a second. Iconic Masters, yeah, I didn't even buy any fucking thing from there. Ravnica, no. So that'll be an easy one because I don't want to have to buy that one because it's like it's targeting one player. It is good. It's a 2-drop to do that. We'll do it to sideboard because I could pick that one up later. I think if you cut Jace for being 3 pips, you should probably cut the sorcery for the same. Yes and no, because Jace, I'll show you because I made that point. Jace was target player puts the you're only targeting one player. They put 2 cards into their graveyard and you draw a card for 4. This, I get what you're saying, the 3 and whatever, but this is 3 blue and it's 14 each opponent. So it's a lot more than 2. It's 14, 14, 14. Ideally you're playing with, you have the 3 players there. And then you get to choose from those 14, 14, 14. That's a bigger pie to choose from than 2, because all you get is 2 and you get a draw off of Jace. And I'm not self-mill. I'm not trying to mill myself out because I don't have Lab Maniac or anything in here. So that's why I said the 3 blue for milling 2 did not feel good. If it was maybe each opponent and I drew a card, maybe, but even that's still not a lot for 3. So I think the 3 blue in this case is definitely worth it because that's a lot of cards you're seeing right there. What are we at? We're at 8. Okay. So what do we think about Dread Summon? So this is hitting me as well. We are getting creatures for each creature that hits the graveyard. You're getting zombies. I keep coming back to this guy. I've potentially taken him out. And how many mill stuff? That's what I want to check really quick. Is there... Those are my creatures there. Let me just check our mill like triggers really quick. So we have kind of a 1 here. 2, 3. That's just a doubler. 4, 5. 5, 6. And you notice I don't have the other crab because I like hitting everybody. Oh, no. That's the wrong crab. Where's the other crab? I have both crabs, don't I? Sounds like a problem. Where's the other crab? How do I not have the other crab in here? What the fuck? It's crab. What is the other crab name? Trigger player puts the top 3. I like the other crab so much better. Why don't I have that? Crab. Crab. Not crap. What is it? It's I got Hedron crab, king crab. No, which one is it? Let's just do it this way. Crab. There he is. Ruined crab. Okay. How is he not? I had him. I swear. Yeah, I know. You don't have to tell me. I know. I know I have crabs. Ruined crab. How did he? Where did he? What? Where did you go, little guy? Because this is so much better than this crab. I was going to say the reason I don't have him in here is because... But it was him I was talking about. Okay, so we just added 1. The crabs are in there, so I don't remember where I was at with milling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... These are potential. Oh, no. 11. That's not even mill. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. All right, so we have 28 mil. So that's a theme right there, buddy. Okay. How much reanimate do we have? We have this could be kind of brutal. 1, 2, 3, and then the other one up there for 4. Is that it? 1, 2, 3. The sorcery, where is it? Reanimate 4. And then we're stealing other people's stuff. Maybe I do just get rid of Dread Summons because that just seems... I mean, you could get a lot of meat force in that if you mill enough. You hit that late game and you're hitting that for 10. Everybody's milling 10, and then you could potentially have a shit ton of 2/2s. I'm not liking that I don't have the removal as much, but am I counting on that for taking other people's stuff is what my question is. Mirage Mirror is very needed in this because we have a lot of things that if they're doubled up, like if Mind Crank is doubled up or Altar of the Brood is doubled up, it could be pretty brutal. And so I kind of want to keep that in there. Sword of Body and Mind, we are attacking. Players milling 10. Yeah. All right. So those make sense. I'm leaning towards maybe Conspiracy getting a boot because it's a 5-drop, but like I mentioned before, having these in there and then turning all my stuff to horrors might be necessary. These guys, whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2. These 2 could get a boot. Yeah, we're going to sideboard them. Sideboard. Sideboard. That is... I don't know how much drawing I'm going to do in this. I mean, I'm going to draw, but I don't know if I'm going to base it on those, because then it is also targeting one player. And it's 2 cards. So they'll be there. I don't like this card. I'm getting rid of it off my sideboard. Is there any others I want sideboard out of there? Get out of there. These other ones. Oh, I don't want that guy there. And Aether Spouts. All right. Down to 107. We're at an hour mark. Not bad, not bad. I want to finish this tonight. So we're down to 7 cards. Maybe a little extra to get our ramp stuff going. Jace. Okay. I need your guys' help. What do I get rid of? Spellskite. It's protection. It's a horror, but it's not. The only thing that this works with is the Fennex, because it's your butt that is what you're tapping, equal to the toughness. So I'd rather have different protection, I guess, in this. I'd rather be tricky and have spells. Move to sideboard. I don't want people to see it come in at all. Shadowkin, I think this is just 2... Mills 3 cards. Each player mills 3. Sepulchral Primordial. That's good late game, though. Let's hit the summons. Let's go into sideboard. Cut your losses could be huge. Each player puts top 2 cards of the library. Then put a creature card from among the graveyard on the battlefield. Yeah, so that's just good. See, this is... Because it doesn't have to be that mill there. Increasing. That is a target. Mind Funeral target until they hit 4 land. It can be brutal. Reanimate. The nice thing is you just take control of it, so we're continuing with that theme there. All right, let's move to some of these artifacts in here. Is there any other artifacts we wanted to get rid of? That can be really crazy. The artifacts seem solid. I may move... no, I should have these in there. They will make a difference because it adds a factor. It's almost like you could say these are mill added in because changing your creatures into horrors and then giving them menace, and now you're able to attack through with them. What is our CMC for everything? 2.19. We keep cutting big stuff. All about the big stuff cuts. And I might drop this down to 36, maybe. I guess we don't have a lot of ramps, so we might keep that higher. Endless Evil. It seems fun. We'll do a sideboard to that. It seems fun by having multiples of your stuff, but... the hard part is you don't hit your... Beginning your upkeep, create a token copy that's an enchanted... It's enchanted creature, so this is a 1/1. So how many can we not get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although you could do this because legend rule doesn't apply. 4, 5. Your commander is 6, 7, 8. So potentially 8 things you could not take. Well, let's keep it out. It's going to be on the sideboard there. I might bring it back in, but right now we'll just keep on the sideboard. So now we're down to 4 cards. 4 cards. And then it's mono rock cutting. That's good. That's good. That's good. 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 So we have recursion stuff. We have built-ins. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards plus your commander that do recursion. Fray Insanity, I like it. It's just, it's so one-sided on a player that I don't like that. is then it's you're targeting one player, and it's just once you mill that player out, then Fraying Sanity no longer does anything. So I don't dig that. All right, so we're down to 3 cards. 3 cards to cut here. Mind Funeral might get cut actually here. Like, do I like Mind Funeral over this? Target player puts the top X cards of their library, and then if you flashback, it has twice. I mean, it's only 3, and they are at least milling 4 cards if they hit 4 land. I think I like this one better. It's a bigger home run hitter. Yeah, we're going to move Mind Funeral to sideboard. I think everything else that's in this package here is good. Exile target creature from a graveyard. It becomes a copy. That seems pretty solid. Could even be my own stuff. So that's at whenever enters battle at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. 4 more cards. That player mills 3. So this might not work as well because we need this at my upkeep. So it's really the first drop. Each opponent puts top 3 cards of their library in the graveyard. 3, 6. So this one might get it too. Sideboard there. What are we at? 1 more cut. Kind of. You picked a bad deck to watch. What is that supposed to mean? You douche canoe. At least are you having a drink with me, Renshai? Because I'm almost done here, and my head's starting to feel a little fun. I guess this is the other part of it is thoughts on this. I don't have as much maybe protection in here because I potentially can steal it with Captain N because target artifact or creature in their graveyard. So I could steal their protection and bring it over to my stuff. I don't know if I want to depend on that, but there is that because then Geth does the same thing. It's artifact or creature. Is anybody else artifact or creature? Whenever, let's see. You play those cards. Exile the top card of each opponent's life. So it's stealing other people's stuff. So I don't know if I need as much protection. Because the captain, here's the thing about it. The captain comes out. I don't know if he becomes the target. I mean, he can be. He will be if I mill people, but really, I'm milling. Like that's you've had multiple drinks. Cheers, buddy. I'll give you a little cheers on that. Dink. So I don't know. I don't know. We just need 1 more cut. And then I might filter in some mono rocks later. Get something figured out. I always come back to like Mirage Mirror. I love Mirage Mirror, but I always end up being like, well, I need a cut. Let's get rid of it. And you know what? I'm a 36 land guy, so maybe that's where I go. Academy runs. What do we got for artifacts? We only have 15. We only have 15 artifacts. Maybe Academy Ruins does not need to be in this. Because when it was mono blue, yeah, that made sense. What am I losing with? I guess there are these guys. 14 artifacts here and an artifact creature. Where's my artifact creature? Get rid of the exile things other than Ashiok. Okay, so what do we got for... what do we have for exile things? Not those, not those. Not my creatures, right? You're more saying... Where's my other exile stuff? Because you are right. That is a good point, actually. Because I do want to take from people's graveyards and such. So if I'm exiling their graveyards, well, it doesn't help my situation out. I'm going to get rid of this. And we're down to our 36. So right now we're at 100. Okay. I would like to add in some mono rocks just to, because my commander is 5 to come out. What is our curve on this? So we have a bunch at 1 at 0, 6 at 1, 7 at 2, a bunch at 16 at 3. This is a pretty good curve here. 2.19. So what mono rocks would I even want to add in? Now let's pull up some EDH rec here. EDH rec. Problem here is they have their video that pops up. Let's try to find some mono rocks. I don't want to pull up my binder because that isn't visually good for anybody to see that. So let's do mono rocks with artifacts. So we got our arcane signet. I don't like these signets as much. What do we got down here? Mind Stone. Want some color in there. We got Monocrypt. We already have that in there. Chromatic Lantern. I only like to do that when I start to get to 3 colors. It does work with 2. I don't like the 2-drop diamonds. Here's my Midnight Clock. Nice curves. Oh, yeah. We are black and blue. Okay, so that didn't help me at all. Let's check out 2-color Dimir commanders. Well, I guess we could get there, Fenix. Let's get him. And let's see what our mono rocks are. Ideally, it'd be nice to have it built in on a creature. And these would be the protection stuff I was thinking of. Non-creature spell, so it's targeting my stuff. But black doesn't have... That's why I like red, because of the trickery part of it. All right, sorceries. We don't want that. Utility artifacts. No, we want mono rock stuff. Mox Amber, but I don't have enough legendary. Planeswalkers, no. Utility lands, no. Mana artifacts. Okay, so what do we got? What's the suggestion? I always like Commander Sphere because then you can draw off of it. 3-drop. These aren't going to help me much. These aren't ones that I would use very often. No? Okay. Well, that was a big waste of time. Thanks. Oh, wait. Black Horror. Artifact creature until end of turn that can't be blocked this turn. Let's get the Dimir Key Ruin because it is a horror. So we get a mill in there potentially. It's 3 for giving me both colors. Let's get that guy in. We want that. Dimir. Is it Key Ruin? Is that what it was? Yes. Jess? All right. So we got a mono rock in there. Is there any others I would add in? That was the end of the list. Prismatic Lens. No. No. Fuck it. You give me a second. I am going to grab my mono rock binder. Hang on. I'm going in my safe. Don't look at my code. All right. Hope you didn't see my code because I didn't get in my safe. All right, let's check this out. All right, so we got the Monocrypt in there. We got Jeweled Lotus. This isn't.
Oh, good for you.
I'm not gonna name off all the ones I have. I'm just trying to see which ones I want to actually use. You got the Soul Ring there. No. Thought Vessel, Signets. I already have Thought Vessel in here, I believe. Hey, Ramsey, knock it off. Don't tell everybody what my code is. Yeah, I have Thought Vessel in there, right? Yeah, Thought Vessel's there. 69. I consider the medallions is Monorock, but I wouldn't in this case. All right, now we get to our 3 drops. So I have Monoscape Refractor, Commander Sphere. I don't know why I like the Skyclave Relic. If you're going to use one that has a potential. If you tap 6, you get 2 more, and they're indestructible. So maybe I'll do that. And I might as well have Chromatic Lantern. It doesn't hurt. Chromatic. Oops. There we go. And I think this one should be used more. If you're going to play a 3-drop Monorock, why not play the Relic? Because it is indestructible. So that's always nice. Okay. I had the Strixhaven Stadium in here, but I don't like it. All right, those are my 3. I don't like to go to 4 necessarily. Yeah, Thran Dynamo, Gilded Lotus. It gets a little higher. Cage Sun. Okay. I think I added enough of those. Sorry, this is not really good visually, but you're seeing which ones I'm adding in there. Mox Amber, 1 mana of any color among legendary. Oh, add 1 of legendary. Yeah, the problem Mox Amber, you need to have I think you need to have a lower, either a lot of legendary stuff or a lower legendary creature. Mox Tantalite. I haven't put that in a deck yet. That Suspend 3 does not really help. Oh, I was like, what? So I got Mox Tantalite and Soul Talisman. That's the one. They both have the Suspend 3. I'll probably only put those in for theme-wise. Expedition Map. Do I have... What are some of the treasure ones? We're not going to do Spell Swindle either. All right, threw it on the floor. All right, so we're good there. I think, what do we got now for Monorocks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what do we want for Monorocks? 13 to 17. Our curve is very low at 2.21. So I think we're good there. So now we just need to make 3 cuts and then we're done. We're going to do 3 cuts and then we're done. I'm not going to add in my protection as much. I will run this and see how it plays out. I might be counting on other people's stuff a little more than I probably should. But I want to see how this does. The biggest thing is I've never needed the... I mean, counter spells would have been good to protect Bruvac and do all that stuff, but, you know, that's not how I run things. So, I just want to see how this flows with this. Teferi is a good draw in there. Jace, is it just too much? Is it a 5-drop, but then you mill somebody 10? Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Where am I going to cut 3? I gave myself more work. I almost come back to the artifacts. Is there anything in here that just stands out? For 3 and recursion. So I got 3 there built in, plus a 4th with reanimate. Lose life to its mana value. That's not too bad. 3 cards, gang, and then we're done. And we can test this bad boy out. I think Cut Your Losses is going to be a good one. Half their library. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Huge. 7 for this. It only happens once. That's going sideboard. Man, it's going. I don't want it to, but it is. It's going sideboard. I think because I'm going to be depending on this more than that doing its thing. And Dempsey, I'm trying to figure out what you mentioned, something with exiling graveyards. And I don't remember if there was anything left that did that. At the beginning of your end step, exile attack creature opponent's graveyard. If you do create a token, that's pretty good. It takes over. That's better than the sepulchral whatever because, well, no, because it's making a copy of this. Never mind. Brain's not all the way there right now. Do I dare do just get rid of Cyclonic Rift? My answer for everything. That's my removal. These two are my removal on a stick. Create a token. A couple creatures that do the stuff. Two cards. Sword of Body, mine's good. Part of me is thinking of just getting rid of the reanimate, but I am milling people, so I kind of want that to stay in there. Wouldn't you think so? Like that, I have potential of getting more stuff. Now I've changed it into a creature base of trying to attack people and kill people. If I can't kill them in mill, I'm going to kill them with blood. So that's that angle. Maybe having two of these in here is good. Maybe I'm dependent on copying stuff too much. Let's get that. That's a good card. I'm just moving it there for now. It may make its way back in. What's my sideboard at? I like to keep it at 10 to 15. Fleet Swallower is not going to make it. That's just too much. So we get that down to 15. Okay. One more card and we are done, guys. One more card. What do we got? What are we cutting? I'll leave it up to you guys. Do we cut a Planeswalker in here? Do we cut Jace? Do we cut Teferi? Teferi doesn't fit in the theme, but it's a good card. It's a really good draw. A really good draw engine in this. And with creatures, you could get 2 extra turns after. It seems really good. Ashiok is really douchey, but it is a mill. I guess that does get rid of the graveyards, but that's only if I use it. I don't have to use the -1. Jace for 5 and milling somebody 10. That seems pretty decent. Creatures, I don't want to get lower with that. We got 23. Remember, so this is a creature deck. Or at least taking people's stuff. Increasing confusion. It makes it so I can play it also twice. I do it once and then do it from the graveyard again. There's anything that's like standing out. Cyclonic is just my backup. You should probably cut Captain. If you can't even tell me his name, I'm not going to cut him. You should just cut him and just go back to make it a Bruvac deck. You're such a douche canoe. Do I get rid of 5 Rexian Arena? Maybe that's what it is. I got Black Market Connections. I think it just takes this place. I mean, it's nice to have 2 of these, so that's good. That's good. The draw stuff. This package here, this enchantment package is really good. I'm looking around and I'm not seeing stuff I want to cut. It's funny because Cyclonic is the one that I'm like, it's in every blue deck that I have. Do I cut it? But if I don't like being in a game. You tell me his name first. It's Captain N. It's Captain N, dude. It's all good. Shadow Kid. Beginning upkeep, each player mills 3 cards. Beginning upkeep. If you do, it becomes a copy of that card. And then we do this. It has mill and it's a creature built in with it. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Do I get rid of Ashiok or Jace? Which one? I like Ashiok for having that potential of getting rid of their graveyard. as they might have recursion, but I want to bring stuff from their stuff. So maybe I do. This is going sideboard. There, I did it. Ashiok sideboard. We're done. We are fucking done. This is the deck, guys. This is what we got. We got going here. I do have the sideboard stuff. Let's get that down to 10 to 15. The Stitcher, yeah, there's a mill to it. There's stuff that's sticking out in my head. Well, I don't have Glimpse. Let's get rid of Glimpse. Jace, let's get rid of that. Now that I'm like thinking about it, this only does the one-time thing, really. I think keeping it about 13 maybe is pretty good. Spellskite. That adds some protection, but that's pretty much it. So I'm not protecting my shit. I'm playing my stuff and hoping it doesn't die. No tricksy stuff. It's just there, all out on the table. Full name, please. All right, here we go. Let me get my button ready. His name is Captain N. Gahathrod. Captain N. Gahathrod. I think that's pretty good. Don't you think so?
Kid can't even read.
I nailed it. All right. All right. All right. I'm going to cut this off here. This has been pretty good. So I'll be interested to see how this plays out. I think it'll be a lot of fun taking people's stuff, milling them at the same time, killing them with stuff, milling them, killing and milling. I think this will be a fun deck. I think it'll be a good change to Bruvac. At least then I can actually stay in games and not just get killed immediately a target right away. Just a little reminder. This little guy is going to be, I'm going to work on that on Sunday. So no proxy time this week, but Sunday, 9 p.m. I'm going to be working on the new Duke Alder Raven Guard and trying to do a lot of Myriad stuff. So I have it ready to go. This is going to be, I'm excited for this because this one was kind of like a switcheroo deck, Captain N guy. But this one's a full-on just new deck, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So check that out Sunday. Join me. And you guys have a good weekend and good Father's Day, by the way, for you fathers out there. Thanks for hopping on. We'll see you guys later. Thanks, Renshai. Thanks, Ramsey. Thanks, Ibukaki, for jumping on there. You guys have a good night. We'll see you later. Bye. Suck up.